Hello everyone, welcome to today's video. So today I'm going over the 2022 Senate map, and I'm going to say is why 2022 could be a very good election year for Republicans. So recently, Democrats won the United States Senate with a narrow 50-50 majority, and while that is impressive, the Democrats are able to pick up two seats in the Republican-red state of Georgia typically. I want to caution a lot of Democrats on this, that actions they take within the next 2 years could potentially lead to the Republicans getting back the majority in the Senate. And I'll show you in this map why I think and how this could happen. So for starters, I'm going to go through all the states I think are safe for each party. So as you can see, the West Coast will all be safe for the Democrats without a doubt. Republicans will win these states very safe as well. Alaska, I think whether it's Lisa Murkowski or maybe another Republican like Sarah Palin, one of them runs in the primary, it will still go red nonetheless. Kansas has shown it can get close, but it won't go blue. It could get close, but it might, but it will not go blue though. Missouri, Arkansas, Louisiana will not go blue. Alabama will not as well. South Carolina could get close if Jamie Harrison runs again, but he just took the position as the president of the DNC, appointed by Joe Biden recommended, so I don't think he would run South Carolina, so I think that stays safe. Democrats will win Illinois, Maryland, Connecticut, no questions asked here, New York as well. So, Democrats sit at 43 seats. Republicans sit, Kentucky at 43, Indiana 44. Okay, nothing good. Yeah, Republicans start off at 44 seats. Democrats start at 43. Now, Vermont will be safe Democratic. However, it is important to note, if Peter Shumlin retires and Republican Governor Phil Scott does run, that does make this race a lot closer. I think it starts off with an open candidate against a popular Republican governor as a likely to lean rating for Vermont. But for the sake of this argument, I'll give this to the Democrats and say it'll be a safe Democrat and Scott doesn't run, or it's a Democrat, or it's Shumlin again. So 44-44. Now Colorado. Colorado's been trending Democrat. We expect it to go to the Democrats' direction. However, if this is a good year for the Republicans, you very well could see Colorado be in the likely column. Which doesn't mean much, but if Colorado, a state that's trending Democrat, is in the likely column, that means the election is going very well for Republicans. Now, Rob Portman in Ohio, I think is likely to win Ohio by a likely margin or bigger. Honestly, you could probably put this in the safe column, to be honestly, over 15%. Rob Portman is a very good candidate. There aren't many good Democratic candidates in Ohio to challenge him. I know Congressman Tim Ryan, I think he said he's not going to run. To me, he's the only Democrat that could really win that race. So, I don't think he's going to run. So then that's 45-45. Iowa, you have the popular incumbent, I don't want to get this wrong, I think it's Terry Branstad, I think. If not, I'm not sure. But it's very popular incumbent. If he runs, it's absolutely a safe Republican state in Iowa. It's absolutely safe. If he does retire, because he is pretty old, if he does retire and it's an open primary, Iowa, I think, starts off at the very least a lean Republican state. I'm giving the Democrats actually a little bit of an edge and putting it down to lean Republican in that case. But for now, I'm going to assume he runs. It'll be a safe Republican state. So now Republicans are at 46, Democrats are at 45. And remember, the Democrats currently have the advantage, the 50-50 majority. Florida, Marco Rubio. President Trump performed very well for an incumbent president who lost an election. He performed very well in Florida. I think Marco Rubio very well could win Florida in a likely to safe margin. I'll put it in likely for now. Marco Rubio is probably going to overperform President Trump in Florida, and President Trump alone did very, very well. So that gets Republicans to 47. Democrats are at 45. Now, how could this be good for the Republicans? Well, first, let's start off with North Carolina. Tom Tillis, who is less popular than a lot of other senators, was able to hold on to his seat. And you already have some prominent people saying they might run. Mark Walker, congressman. You also have Laura Trump, who is very, very popular in the Republican Party. If she runs, North Carolina will likely hold. I start off North Carolina in the lean column. That puts the Republicans at 48. So North Carolina is one to keep an eye on. Georgia, though, is... So I didn't fill this in. Actually, let me put this as toss-up for now. John Ossoff's race, that will be 6 years of him. So that will be one Democrat from Georgia at least. But 48-46, Ron Johnson in Wisconsin, I think that race is a pure toss-up. If Ron Johnson does not run, I started as a toss-up. We'll probably end up leaning Democrat at some point. If Ron Johnson does run, I think he has a narrow advantage in the state of Wisconsin for now. He was able to win in 2016. In a Republican wave year in 2022, I'd expect him to hold on and win. That gives the Republicans to 49 to 46. Pennsylvania, the Republicans can still win. However, the fact is that Pat Toomey is retiring, and Pennsylvania's race will be very close. But there's a lot of strong Democratic candidates, and I honestly can't name one really strong Republican candidate yet. The only one I can name is former Congressman Lou Barletta, but he said he's going to run for governor. So there aren't really too many strong Republican candidates that we know of yet. That means that a candidate would have to win the primary, get a lot of enthusiasm, get a strong grassroots campaign, come out of nowhere and win. So that basis alone, I would put Pennsylvania in the lean Democrat category to start. However, 47-49, Pennsylvania could still be won by the Republicans if they find the right candidate. Now, Republicans, still, this is different than 2020. Since Trump lost and Kamala Harris is the vice president, Republicans need to have 2 seats. They have to get over 51. Where could they do this? All the states currently left are all held by Democrats. This is where it matters, though. Raphael Warnock just beat Kelly Loeffler. Kelly Loeffler, by all metrics, was not a very strong candidate in Georgia. She underperformed David Perdue. Maybe Raphael Warnock governs a little too far to the left for Georgia's taste. Maybe he does. And then maybe they're on a better Republican candidate. Maybe Doug Collins can drive out more Trump voters, combined with Warnock being too far to the left. Maybe another Republican like, who's his name? There's a candidate who just was a Democrat, or a Republican who just switched from Democrat to Republican, used to play football. I can't think of his name, but maybe he wants to run for Georgia Senate. If he can get a lot of turnout out, maybe he could win Georgia. And then you also have other statewide Republican congressmen, congresswomen who maybe want to run. So there's possibilities for Republicans to flip back this race and beat Raphael Warnock. Now, if they do that, Raphael Warnock will have to be doing a very bad job as senator because he was able to win this time. But in a wave year election, it's very possible Warnock will lose. And now we have 3 states left of Nevada, Arizona, and New Hampshire. All 3 of these states were won by Hillary, or were won by Biden at least once, or won by Biden once, and in New Hampshire, in Nevada's case, won by Hillary Clinton as well. However, New Hampshire is a special case because I think Governor Chris Sununu, I've been saying this for a while, I think he runs for Senate this time. He is the best Republican candidate in New Hampshire, and in my opinion, next to Jeanne Shaheen, he is the second best candidate of all New Hampshire. This guy is a Republican governor, supports President Trump, openly supports President Trump, and he won with about 65% of the vote. He got a bigger margin of victory than Joe Biden, Jeanne Shaheen, and either one of the 2 congressional candidates as a Republican on a night where Democrats dominated the election. If Chris Sununu runs against Maggie Hassan, the current senator, former governor, who is not well liked, but she's not hated, but she's not like super well liked either. Like Jeanne Shaheen, even a lot of Republicans liked. Maggie Hassan is not in that same realm, which is, I think, would be a 2016 scenario where you had Kelly Ayotte, who is a semi-popular senator, against Maggie Hassan, who was a very popular governor. Now the roles are reversed, where you have Chris Sununu, who's very popular, and his family name's very popular in New Hampshire, going against Maggie Hassan, who's a little more popular than Kelly Ayotte, but is not as popular as Chris Sununu is. I think Chris Sununu can win this race. It'll be very, very close, under 3% most likely. I could absolutely see Chris Sununu in 2022, a Republican wave year, winning New Hampshire, even if Democrats win in Pennsylvania, which is not a sure thing. And then we have Nevada and Arizona. Now, Nevada and Arizona and New Hampshire and Pennsylvania, this election all comes down to what will the Republicans do to find the right candidates. I think the Republican Party, my early prediction will be, they'll go back to what they did in 2014. They're not going to run crazy candidates who go too far to the right. They're going to run candidates who can win. Mitch McConnell is going to put every single dollar down he can on getting Chris Sununu to run in New Hampshire. and getting the next two people who I'm about to talk about to run in Nevada and Arizona. In Arizona, Mark Kelly is the next senator. If he governs too far to the left, there's a possibility Republicans can win back. However, Arizona has shown they don't want really far-right Trump-style Republicans in there. And I think, to me, I know with the COVID situation that his popularity might have taken a hit. I think Governor Doug Ducey is the right candidate for this race. He won big in both elections. I think Doug Ducey could win this race if Mark Kelly's popularity drops. Republicans very well could win Arizona in a very, very close margin if it is Doug Ducey as the nominee. And lastly, we come to Nevada. Nevada Democrat Catherine Cortez Masto only won in 2016 by 3%. She's likely going to hold this race unless one candidate runs for the Republican Party, and I think Mitch McConnell knows this as well. It needs to be former Governor Brian Sandoval. Brian Sandoval is very popular in the state of Nevada. He was elected and re-elected very, very big in popular numbers. This guy is the best bet Republicans have for a Senate candidate in Nevada. If you know a lot about Nevada, you know there's also the guy who ran for a governor 4 years ago. 2 years ago at this point, 4 years ago from 2022, Adam Laxalt. I expect him to probably run for governor again. I think if he does run, it will be for governor. Brian Sandoval should absolutely run for Senate. If he does, Nevada can easily, well, not easily, but it could absolutely go to the tilt Republican column. Republicans can get up to 53-47, and if they can field the right candidate in Pennsylvania, then they can get it up to 54-46. Next thing you know, the Democrats flip the Senate in 2020, and the Republicans' majority in the Senate's even bigger in 2022. So, this map that you're looking at right now, it might look a little Republican red happy or heavy. I don't think this will all happen. A lot of this has to do with what's the country looking like in 2 years. Do the Republicans run the right candidates? I think if you run all Trump-style Republicans, then New Hampshire, like Chris Sununu, he's a Trump. All right, so Chris Sununu, I think, is a Republican who likes Trump. I don't think he's a Trump Republican. It's kind of like you're like a square is a rectangle, but a rectangle is not a square, if that makes sense. Where Chris Sununu will like some things that Trump does, but he's not full on Trump. Like it's Trump or die, pretty much. That's why I think Chris Sununu is the perfect Republican for New Hampshire to run. If they try to run someone more far to the right and Chris Sununu, Republicans will lose. In Nevada, if they try to run someone far to the right of Brian Sandoval, I think they'll lose. I think they could try to run Dean Heller again. Maybe he might be able to win. But Brian Sandoval is a much safer bet, in my opinion, for the Republicans. In Arizona, I think they need someone who can win back a lot of the more liberal, conservative, John McCain, and Mitt Romney votes that President Trump has alienated. Some of them have voted for Joe Biden, obviously because Joe Biden won Arizona. They need a lot of those Republicans back. And Doug Ducey, by standing by the election results and saying Joe Biden won and not caving into what Trump was saying, a lot of Trump Republicans might not like that. But a lot of the more moderate Jeff Flake, Mitt Romney, John McCain Republicans will. They'll vote for Doug Ducey because they voted for him twice. They'll vote for him again. The only question is, can he get through the primary, which I think he can. If he can do that, that is the right candidate for Arizona. And then Pennsylvania, it's all about finding the right Republican. I really haven't spent too much time in Pennsylvania. I'll do that at another video at another time. But you can find the right Republican to win Pennsylvania. Pennsylvania is more of a Trump-loving state than some of the other ones I just talked about. It did vote for Trump in 2016, so a Trump Republican might work in Pennsylvania, but it won't work in Nevada. It probably won't work in Arizona. It won't work in Georgia, most likely. The Republican in Georgia needs to be able to win over Trump Republicans and liberal Republicans. I don't know who that person is in Georgia, but maybe gotta go around the state, see if there's any congressmen, if there's any Republican celebrities that could run in Georgia. There are Republican candidates who could win and make 2022 a very good Republican year. It's all about finding the right candidate and getting the grassroots effort out, and I think the Republican Party could do that. This isn't me saying I think this is going to happen. This is me saying it's absolutely possible if the Republican Party runs the right candidates. Because look, 2020 it's going to end up looking like, well, Joe Biden won the presidency, Democrats won back the Senate, Democrats kept the House. What's getting overshadowed is Democrats lost seats in the House. And they didn't just lose one or two. They lost a lot. They lost a lot of seats in the House. Which a lot of Democrats are saying, yeah, we might have won the presidency, but that House, that's not looking good. The Republicans are probably going to win back the House in 2022. And on election night, you had Republicans freaking out, so happy. They held Maine, they held North Carolina. They were doing very good in the Senate. And then they dropped the ball in the two Georgia Senate races later on. So I just want to a warning to the Democrats is don't think by having a 50-50 majority, your majority is invincible. 2022, it can strike back hard against the Democrats as quickly as they got it if they try to do anything too crazy. Because one thing that the 4 years of President Trump has shown is this country is very, very unpredictable with our politics. We elected President Trump. We also in 2020 rejected him. We voted for Joe Biden. At the same night, Republicans won down ballot in the House races. Republicans held Republican Senate seats in North Carolina and in Maine. The polls showed for sure they were going to lose. So anything can happen. So 2022 could very well be a Republican year, but the Republicans need to get smart, run the right candidates who can win. That's more important. Is each state is different. Each candidate is different. They need to run the right candidates who can win. That's going to do it for today's video, guys. Thank you so much for watching. Please remember to like this video and subscribe to my channel for more content. Thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you in the next video.